33.
Clause 33, Honourable Minister.
Thank you. I'd like to move an amendment to this clause 33, page 54, proposed new section 291, subsection 1. Leave out that subsection and insert instead the following sections. The Electoral Commissioner may approve any procedures that are reasonable and appropriate to assist an elector who is unable to vote without assistance, and if an elector is to be assisted in voting in an election and an electoral officer for that election is to advise any scrutineers for that election of the approved procedure by which the elector will be voting.
Question is the clause is amended to stand part of the bill. The Honourable Member for Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm really pleased that the Minister was open to working with me on these amendments, and I appreciate...
Recognising that.
Yep. Thank you, Minister. These are amendments that I brought to the Minister to consider. And it was a constructive process to work with the Minister and his office on ensuring that we got the outcome, because in intent they don't change what was in the bill, or what is in the bill, sorry, but they have addressed some concerns by key stakeholders. And having said that, I think it's definitely worthwhile briefly pointing out to the Chamber that in terms of the genesis of these amendments, the need for the amendments arose when my office contacted key stakeholders, particularly Disability Voices TAS and the former Anti-Discrimination Commissioner, Dr Robin Banks, in May, as the bill was scheduled to be debated in May by our Chamber. And I wanted to check with them as key stakeholders in relation to these particular parts of the bill, whether they were happy with the proposed alternative voting procedures in the bill as it stands. And surprise, surprise, they actually hadn't seen a draft of the bill. They weren't aware the provisions were being included. They hadn't been directly consulted on the bill. Now, I think it was interesting, the CEO of Disability Voices TAS said to us that afternoon of the bill's scheduled debate in May, beyond submitting to the initial consultation, DVT has not been involved. We have attempted on numerous occasions to find out what is happening, but to no avail. So, later that same day, once I'd had the opportunity to briefly consider the clauses in the bill that we're considering, concerned about it. And so I'm really pleased that the Minister and his office have been receptive to hearing these concerns and acting to address them, as we see given effect in this amendment. But it's disappointing that this was actually another key example of directly impacted stakeholders not being proactively consulted by government on this bill. And I think actually it's worth me just pointing that on the record here, because we've heard from those other key stakeholders, PMAT and Tasmanian TCT, Tasmanian Conservation Trust, also finding it difficult to have felt that they've been effectively consulted on this bill. It is a pattern of behaviour. But back to these amendments, I think we do need to recognise these as a really positive way forward. The intent of them is to align pieces of legislation that relate to voting, namely this Local Government Act with the Electoral Act, and make sure that the way alternative voting provisions are treated is aligned and consistent across both. So I'm very supportive of these amendments.
Question is the clauses amended stand part of the bill?
That the amendment be agreed.
The amendment be agreed.
Very Honourable Minister, anything further? Question is that the amendment be agreed. Those of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Against no. The ayes have it.